Greetings, everybody. Coming to you from my 2012 Mercedes-Benz S350 Bluetec 4MATIC diesel. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of this car and how much I paid for it and so forth and so on, just to kind of give a rundown. So this car came with, I'm going to say 95% of the service history. I'm actually going to do a separate video detailing everything that's gone wrong with this car. It's definitely needed its share of attention throughout the years, that's for sure. I'm not going to say it's been horrible, nothing catastrophic really, but there have been a couple $3,000 here and $3,000 there repairs. But yeah, it was really interesting that this car, through multiple owners, came with all of the service history. So I was able to read through a lot of that. I do want to highlight a couple notable things. And by the way, the windshield wipers are noisy, so apologies for that. This OM 642 diesel engine is notorious for oil cooler seals leaking. From what I've heard on the forums, they typically go bad, I don't know, 70,000 miles ish, but this one here, actually, they went bad around 38,000 miles. I want to say it was in 2017. So that was covered under warranty at the time. I don't know if there was an extended warranty or CPO. I think it was maybe CPO. So the repair order was pretty detailed. They didn't replace the oil cooler, they just replaced the seals. But my goodness, all the stuff they had to get to do it. Most of that job is labor by far, but it also comes with anything they had to take apart to get to it. Also needed re-gasketed or whatever. There's like a whole page of just gaskets and screws and whatever that was involved in that. But I did look up the part number, and it was upgraded to the purple seals, which are supposed to last better. So that was it. I think it was at 38,000 miles, and since then it's been fine. The prior owner had a leak that he took it to the dealer for within the past year, and it turned out to be the vacuum pump or something like that. But again, I'll go into more details about all of that in another video. And then just the next thing is what I paid for this. So I paid $15,250, which I think is it's a spectacular deal given what some of these have gone for recently. And then another huge plus is the AEM warranty on this car was done like 4,000 miles ago in 2022. So I pretty much have a factory warranty on pretty much all of the emissions components, but that also includes things like the turbocharger, the intake manifold, I think even like the injectors, cylinder heads, valves. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it is super comprehensive. It also includes, if the check engine light comes on for any reason, that diagnostic time is covered. Another thing making this car such a great value is it came with 2 sets of wheels and tires. And there's an aftermarket grill on it right now that I don't like, but it came with the original grill, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that. The brakes are relatively new. Tires are relatively new. The rims that are on it now are 20-inch, and I found that putting the air pressure to like 40 makes it ride better actually, and less susceptible to the tire bottoming out on the rim, because there's not a whole lot of sidewall there to take the bumps. And the bumps around here are pretty rough. The other thing making this particular car a good value is in 2022, when he had the AEM done, he had a major service done. That included a transmission service at 88,000 miles. Then that was the first time I could find that that was done, but I think that's fine. It calls for the change at 70,000, so the fact that it was done at 88,000 I think is well within the realm of being fine. He had the brake fluid done, and I like to do brake fluid every 3 years, so I'm good for at least another year and a half on that. And he had, of course, the oil and filter and cabin air filters and windshield wipers, which is funny that they're so noisy. And I think they checked the differential fluids, which are fine. My experience is you don't really have to change the differential fluid on these cars. Some people may say otherwise, but I have heard from multiple people that have changed it at 100,000 miles plus. They said it looked brand new. So yeah, there's something else. Oh, fuel filter. He did the fuel filter back then. So there's pretty much nothing to do on this car for a while. He did another oil change like late last year in 2023, and it was only like 500 miles ago. So yeah, in terms of value for the money, that's how I approach buying a car for the most part, is value for the money. What am I getting for the money spent? Now, I did have to pay to have it shipped here. That was $1,500. So I factored that into the price. But when you consider that, you know, to get something new, I mean, even like my Versa cost more than this. Nothing against my Versa. I love that car. That's a whole different ball of wax there. A whole different purpose. I like all kinds of cars across the board. Those of you who have seen some of my videos know I really don't discriminate. I like my Versa as much as I like a Bentley or a Ferrari or whatever. I'm just a car guy. But when you think, you know, for 15, 17,000 that you can buy an S-Class Mercedes that is fully operational, doesn't have any current issues. I have put about 300, 400 miles on this so far. Oh, by the way, that little clunk there, that's just kind of a minor bump. You hear those with those really thin sidewalls. But anyway, yeah, now I lost my train of thought. I do that all the time in my videos, but I'm kind of scatterbrained anyway. But yeah, so fully operational, no issues for that kind of money. Now, granted, you know, I do expect this car to need things that will pop up, need to be repaired. And you know, that's just what you expect. I always tell people, now this was a few years ago I came up with this number. I may have to revise that up, but if you own a car like this and you get it fully sorted out, well maintained, fully sorted out, it's so important to know the history of the car. And I'll talk a little bit more about buying sight unseen as well, and my process for that. But, you know, getting a car that's fully sorted, in fact, the only issue with this car is the driver door handle for the keyless go isn't working. But to me, that's not a huge issue because I can just use the rear door. But just in the interest of making the car right, I probably will go ahead and either try to fix that myself, or have the dealer fix that, one of the two. But when I buy a car sight unseen, especially something like this that can really be a can of worms, one of the first things I like to do is just have a conversation with the owner. I prefer to buy from a private owner rather than a dealer. Now that's something I have made exceptions for. Like my 540D I bought from a dealer, but I did actually get to talk to the original owner on that one. You know, even though this car that I bought here, it's had a bunch of owners, it seems like everybody really cared for the car. You know, just looking at the overall condition, you know, the interior is spotless. It pretty much looks like brand new. And the let's see here, let me come to a stop and check, and I'm gonna do a quick little acceleration run. Love that torque, it's so addictive. But you can get a feel for the type of person that you're talking to, and whether they're trustworthy, whether they actually took care of the car. The guy I bought this car from, my impression was he's a lot like me. You know, he takes care of the car. He is very just honest. You can just tell by talking to people. If you're talking to somebody and they're a little shady, or they're hard to get on the phone, or they're non-responsive, you know, that's somebody you probably want to stay away from. Somebody you probably don't want to buy a car from. I mean, in that case, unless you can see it in person. And, you know, there's got to be some level of intelligence in the person as well. And they've got to be down to earth and kind of connected to reality. There's just a lot of psychological things you can pick. Ooh, there's Bambi. Let's slow down for that. You can pick up on just by talking to somebody, and that really helps to determine whether you're going to get a good deal on a car, whether it's going to be safe to buy. And you know, so far my instincts have done me well. You know, and there was one lesson in there. I bought a car from somebody who didn't know it very well, and it had a couple issues when I got it. I actually drove that one home. I think it was 6 or 8 hours, and there was not a major issue with the turbo, but definitely an issue with the turbo. That was actually a 1993 300 SD that I bought, which I do actually have some videos about that one from years ago, if you're interested in checking that out. So this car is actually the successor to that. Anyway, so, you know, things like that, just getting a feel, and you know, them being forthcoming with showing you requested receipts or whatever, you know, just asking them questions like, even, hey, can you send me a video about this or that? And I've dealt with people that, you know, it's like pulling teeth to get them to even respond to simple questions or do simple requests. And, you know, that further tells you what it's going to be like to deal with that person if you end up buying the car. You know, you might not be able to get a hold of them, or the carrier might not be able to get a hold of them to pick up the car. You know, so I never had any worries about that with this one that I bought. So, you know, just general things like that, you just have to kind of pay attention to what's being said, what's not being said, the responsiveness of the person, how willing they are to help. You know, I have sold cars also to people long distance, and I'm always very accommodating. I give the people exactly what they ask for. I try to make the process 100% smooth, and I prefer to deal with people like that, because just by doing the the due diligence, then you know you're going to be able to be pretty confident that you're getting what you expect. Sometimes a car may even exceed your expectations. This one here, I had very high expectations for it. It has met all of them. And you know, again, I'm just really curious to see how well this car is going to hold up over time. Given the complex nature of these cars, I have a friend who bought a 2010 S350 for $5,000, and you could tell that some mechanics that didn't know what they were doing had been under the hood on that car, and they kind of messed some things up. And he's been having some weird random issue with something draining his battery, and the dealer's been trying to solve it, and they can't seem to replicate it. It's been really frustrating for him, you know. So things like that can pop up, but I think that's more common on cars that you don't know the full service history on, and cars that have had people working on them that don't know what they're doing. Like on his car, somebody had replaced a couple of the radiator hoses, and they just did it completely wrong. They like used RTV sealant and the wrong kind of hose clamps, and just, I mean, kind of made a mess out of things. So, you know, dealer service, or at least somebody who is competent, like a good aftermarket shop that specializes in these types of cars and knows them, you know, figuring out that the car's been maintained by the right people, using the right products, that's so important. You know, these kind of cars are designed to feel like brand new with hundreds of thousands of miles on them if properly maintained, and this one is no exception. I actually did own one of these new, not an S350, but it was an S550, and this drives actually better than I remember. The W221, I actually didn't think I was going to get another one. I did own one of those that I bought from kind of a shady dealer. The only reason I bought it back in the day was because it still had some manufacturer's warranty left on it. But it was, I think, like a New York City car that had some really questionable history. Let's see, I've got a merge here. See what that truck's going to do. He's going really slow, so we'll just signal and get over. We're good. Yeah, that one needed thousands upon thousands of dollars of warranty work. I guess that's another way to approach buying a used Benz, is if you get it with some factory warranty on it. You know, that of course mitigates a lot of things, because you're covered there. But when you get into the older cars, my sweet spot, the Benzes I have enjoyed the most have been the ones that are 10 to 15 years old. This one here is like 12 years old, give or take. And that's where they have fully depreciated for the most part. Now these S350s tend to hold their value a little better than the S550s because of it being a diesel and kind of a niche car. With the diesel has its fans for sure, but still, I mean, it was basically 15% of the sticker price. The original sticker price of this car back in 2011, 2012, whenever it was on the showroom floor, was like 99 and change. I'm not sure what that is in today's dollars. I'm gonna call it like maybe 120. So pretty much on par with what a new S-Class costs today. This one came with 3 options. Split view, which I did a video about. And then, what do they call it? It's maybe the premium package or something. That's with the Harman Kardon sound system, I think. I don't think that was standard. Maybe that was standard. But the reverse camera, which I think is pretty cool for a 2012. It has the active multi-contour seats. The heated and cooled seats, I think, were standard on the W221. I don't know, it came with some other stuff too, and then it came with 19-inch wheels as an option, but it didn't have like the AMG package or anything like that. It was like $6,000 in options maybe. So I mean, it would have been cool to have like night vision and Distronic, but really not necessary. The one I was most excited about was the split view, which is just so cool. You'll have to check out that video that I made about it if you are interested in such a thing. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth seeing. So anyway, that is a little bit more about the background of how I got this car and my thoughts on buying a car sight unseen. And if you have any questions, please post them down into the comments there. And have a great day.